So this is a cedar section from a tree that was taken on about 3 weeks ago. I've had it for about 2 weeks now. I'm going to be attempting to split it and process it down to do some bentwood boxes. My first course of action is going to be to take some wedges and try and split it in half. As you can see from this side here, there's a lot of branches on this side. But on this side, not so many, and the ones that are there are much smaller. I don't know how much I'm going to get, but I'm going to try and split it through about the thickness of the tree. But as you can see, the center is right there, so I'm going to split it a little bit offline with that center and see what I got. So I leveled off the top just a little bit. There was a bit of a protrusion left over from when the people took the tree down. So what I've got here, I've got some iron wedges for splitting, and my trusty homemade maul here for driving them in. So what I'm going to do, as I said, I want to cut a little off center through this thing, avoiding the pith a bit. I'm going to place these in a line, and then I'm going to start driving them in one after another, trying to keep the pressure pretty equal and symmetrical as much as you can to split it evenly across the front. First I'm going to grab my froe though, and I'm going to give myself a channel to work with to kind of keep it all in line. Here we go. Wedge number one. This has only been down a couple of weeks, so it's still very green. You probably can't see it from there. But as these are going in, the moisture is actually popping out, splattering from the wedges as they're compressing the wood. Definitely splitting, but it's a little off center. You can see on this side it's coming down relatively straight, getting a little deflection from the knot hole. This one, much bigger knot hole, some serious deflection. But we'll see what happens. If I turn it this way so you can kind of see it a little bit better. Oh, there's a good crack. You can really hear it there. I've got a good crack going most of the way down. Okay. So now it is split almost to the bottom. It's just held a couple of spots by some threads inside that I'll have to sever to get it to completely come apart. Don't know if this will work. We'll try it with the froe and see if I can get it up level. There we go. That worked beautifully. Mind your toes when doing this. And we have 2 logs. Okay, so now that I've split it in half, my next question is, how am I going to start reeving this down into usable blanks for bentwood? Part of my problem, as you can see, is I can't just cut it in half because my froe, which is this handy dandy little splitting tool here, is not long enough to go all the way across. So my best bet is going to be to come in here, and I don't want this sapwood to begin with. I'm going to pull that off since it's a different density. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to try and take the sapwood off the edges to thin it down a little bit. That way I can just keep the part that I want, and it'll fit my froe. And here we're going to try and take off that sapwood. Well, got some of it, and then I got some runoff there, so I'm going to try and take just a little bit more. Got some of it. Let's try the other side, see what happens there. Not. Okay, so I'm going to have to, I think, grab a chisel and take some of this knot out so I can work down through it. I'm going to put the mallet. Now I brought it over here. I just don't know where it went. Ah, I brought it halfway over here. Thank you, lovely assistant. There we go. Now, I'm going to try and flip this thing. We'll try that again. Total non sequitur. I love this thing. Okay, so I got some of it off. Let's take a little bit more on this side, and then we'll flip it again and try and start removing the pieces off. I think we can work with that. Okay, so now we're going to try and take off a chunk of this middle here. I'm trying to keep it relatively even amount. I don't know how well it'll work with the grade variation in there, but we're going to give it a shot. I'm also still catching a pretty good amount of the central rings from the pith of the tree, which could affect it, but we'll see. Okay, so now that I've got the fro wedged in here, I'm going to start putting some leverage, or I'm going to try, on there. No, just wide enough I can't hit the other side. So now it's all about leverage and brute strength to try and split this thing, and my handle is starting to go on my fro. One of the things with this, you can see from the side here, my crack is going down. I really want to put my leverage on the back side of whatever I'm working on to help it try and stay true. If you put it on the skinny side, it will tend to make it run out so that you end up with an uneven piece playing free. Use my wedge here to keep it open a little bit as I move down into the wood a bit more. Get a better leverage point. Woo! It's going, but it is not going easy. Something really cool about listening to the wood split. Fall over. Yeah, this handle was going big time. Okay, so I've got a problem here in that my handle and my fro is really split, and I'm kind of afraid to do anything with it. I'm afraid it's going to shatter on me. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here, make a new handle, and then we'll move back to this in a minute. Okay, so one freshly rebuilt handle to hopefully a little bit thicker, and we'll see what we can go. This is looking really good on this side. This side, not so much so. You can see where that knot was. It might end up tearing out. I don't know. We're just going to have to see, but here goes. You can see it did continue on past the knot. It's a pretty ugly split, but it didn't completely tear out, so that's something. However, it's broken at the top. I think when I was pushing, I was putting a little too much pressure on the top. And now I got my wedge stuck. I'm still very much in the art portion of this process and not in the science just yet. Well, that's pretty ugly. And basically unusable, unfortunately. Okay, so what I'm thinking with this one is, if you can see how gnarly this center is, it's just still too much pith in here. There's a really nasty knot right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my wedges and I'm going to split this out and see if I can get something usable from it that way. Pretty decent split. I got a little bit of sapwood on the outside that is sticking, but that's okay because I'm probably going to split the sapwood off anyway. So I'm going to set this sucker aside for the moment, and we're going to concentrate on this guy and try and take one off this way. And that does not want to bite. There we go. Okay, that is what we want to see. We have a relatively uniform thickness at the top. The bottom's pretty thin. This one, I think there was just a little bit too much inherent character in the wood to make it want to split easily. I don't know if it'll be usable or not, but we will find out. I think I'm going to try and split one more off this piece, and then we'll go to the next one and see if we can get something usable off that other piece that we split a minute ago. And you can see that one split nicely. It's got a real twist to it, which is part of the problem with splitting it. I don't know if I'll be able to get anything out of it, but it's fun playing with it anyway, so we'll see. Okay. I don't think there's really enough left in here. Part of the problem is this lighter wood here, the sapwood, I'm going to end up trimming off. I can't really use that, so I don't know if I can really get much usable out of there. Although it was a good experiment, this is still really thick. So we're going to go for broke on this one and see if we can get it split in half again. Now, we want to try and guide this as best we can because it's already turning out. Oh well. There's still thick enough there. I can probably thin it down a bit and make something out of it. We'll see. Okay. Okay, so this is the other half of that piece. We're going to go ahead and try and see if I can get anything good out of this side. Grain in these is really, really important, and unfortunately, by using what I have access to, that doesn't give me the best shot. I can just kind of hope for the best. You can see this one's just really ripping out already. Yep, that went nowhere. Part of it is I've got this big old hunk of knot right here still, which is just taking out a lot of the material, and I think this might just be some firewood at this point. But I'm here, I got the tools, I got the time. Let's give it another shot. This was not a happy little tree. This was a gnarly, angry little tree. Okay, so you'll notice I'm fighting with this one a lot more. It's because of that knot from those branches. They're really holding on and don't want to let go. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, that is pretty gnarly in all senses of the word. Very thick too. I'm not going to try and split this one just yet. Since it's still so wet, I think I'm going to probably let this one dry a bit longer. You see that nice curve in there? Not so nice curve. Try and let it dry a little longer, and we'll see if I can get something out of it later. This piece, however, we'll try it again. The hard part with this is judging how thick to go. You want it thick enough that it's going to split well, but not so thick that you're wasting all the material. And it's really anybody's guess. I'm still kind of learning to read the wood. It's not too bad of a crack. But yeah, that's garbage. Kind of see it on the side there. Now it's going down. There's got that knot down there that it wants to follow, and the inside is just splintering. Okay. Yeah, I was afraid of that, but that one's not going to be useful for much of nothing, I don't think. It's just all coming bratty on me. So to the junk pile it goes. Okay. Okay, well, since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and try and split this sucker again. I'm going to go a bit offset of the center, and hopefully we'll get away from the heartwood. The pith from the center. This is pretty ugly, so I'm not really holding out too much hope for it, but what the heck. So close. Okay. Let's live dangerously. Whew. You can see it's still kind of held together at the bottom pretty good, but it's almost there. Whew. That knot just does not want to let go down there. Ta-da! Okay, so I got it apart. As you can kind of see down here at the bottom, there's this great big gnarly knot there that is just not going to let go nicely. So I think what I'm going to end up needing to do with this, if I can get anything out of it, is to grab a chainsaw and just cut it off right above the knot and hope for the best. I'm not really hopeful. You can see there's a branch right here. This was the bad side. You know, it's just, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Clear, straight grain is hard to find. This one, maybe, but again, I got all these branches over here. I might be able to clean this side up here a little bit and take something off of there, but I just think it was pretty messy, and I didn't have a whole lot of hope for it to begin with. I took it as on a shot. I did get a second smaller one that I practiced a little bit with. And these are the ones that I got off that smaller one. Those came out really nice. You can see there's a little bit of surface splitting on it from where the log was drawing. This one was pretty close to the edge. These knot holes could make it a bit difficult for bending. Just have to see. That one was obviously a little shorter, but this came out really nice. All from the same tree, just a different section. This one right here may be the best out of the lot. It's going to be kind of hard to see. But I got a few of them that are pretty good. A few of them that are, well, we'll find out. But in and of itself, every time I split, I learn a little bit more about what I'm doing and what it's working for. So it's usually a worthwhile experience.